And now we must analyze a short story by James Joyce Evelyn. James Joyce was an Irish author and a key figure in developing stream of consciousness technique in the modern novel. He is considered to be one of the most influential writers of the 20th century who experimented with ways to use language. And a few words about modernist literature. In or about December 1910, human nature changed, declared Virginia Woolf. Through this interesting hyperbole, she meant that there is a frightening discontinuity between the traditional past and the shaken present, that the line of history has been bent, perhaps broken. Modernist literature goes on the tacit assumption that human nature has indeed changed. Stephen Spender remarks that the circumstances under which we live, forever being transformed by nature, have been so radically altered that people feel human nature to have changed and thereby behave as though it has. The consequences are extreme: a breakup of the traditional unity and continuity of Western culture, so that the decorums of its past no longer count for very much in determining its present, and the loosening of those ties that in one or another way has bound it to the institutions of society over the centuries. The writer takes upon himself the enormous ambition not to remake the world, by now seen as hopelessly recalcitrant and alien, but to reinvent the terms of reality. Modernist writers were in search of new ways to relate the human experience, changed human character in an uncertain, vague, and hopeless time in history. That time was the moralized world and lost generation, as Gertrude Stein would later put it. Changing times and changed human nature demanded different modes of expression. For James Joyce, new mode of expression was stream of consciousness, to convey what lies below the surface of a character's psyche. And now about plot in stream of consciousness novel. Since stream of consciousness literature focuses on psychic processes, mental and spiritual processes of a character, it cannot employ plot in the ordinary sense. If then the stream of consciousness writer cannot draw on the conventional use of a plot to provide a necessary unity, he must devise other methods, comments Robert Humphrey. He gives the following classification of those patterns that replace conventional use of plot in stream of consciousness works. The unities of time, place, character, and action. According to Robert Humphrey, some of the most important and in some way the most interesting means James Joyce uses to compensate for lack of plot and for the intricacies of presenting character on the level of psychic processes are the unities. So the unities of time and place. Ulysses takes place on one day and in one city. The narrative of Ulysses opens in two places, first with the beginning of the day, the 16th of June, and next with the beginning of the day in the Bloom household in the fourth episode. All the action takes place in the city of Dublin, and all from the point of view of but three characters. Leitmotifs. So leitmotif, a leading motive, is a recurring musical theme associated with a particular person, place, or idea. By extension, the word has also been used to mean any sort of recurring theme, whether in music, literature, or the life of a fictional character or a real person. In literature, it is defined as a recurring image, symbol, word, or phrase. Joyce's motifs may be classed as image, symbol, or word phrase motifs. They serve to carry minor themes throughout the novel and express with the power of image and symbol what is in the minds of the characters. Most of all, they serve as formal links to aid in holding together the scattered materials of consciousness. An example of image motive in Ulysses is the image Stephen frequently has of his dying mother. It is an obsession for him because he had refused her request to pray for her. The images of Stephen's mother on her deathbed or in her death clothes are the thematic basis for the most emotionally charged monologues in the novel. The symbol motive is even more often exploited in Ulysses. The most amusing example is potato, which Leopold Bloom carries with him. It is a talisman for Leopold, a relic of poor Mama, as he tells the prostitute. Whenever Bloom reaches in his pocket to make sure the talisman is with him, it is an indication he's setting forth on heroic ventures. Such a venture is his trip to the butcher shop. The employment of words and phrases as a special type of symbol motive is a device at which Joyce is adept. Such a motive is, for example, the famous Matin Pike hoses. Previously established literary patterns, burlesques. The most overt pattern Joyce follows in Ulysses is burlesque, or parody. In his novel Ulysses, instead of Ulysses' adventures on his way home to Penelope, Joyce gives us an ordinary Jewish man by the name of Leopold, who ate with relish the inner organs of beasts and fowls. Symbolic structures. The symbolic design and the symbolic vision can be found in most of Virginia Woolf's work, for example. Clarissa Dalloway's day, her preparations for the party, her final realization of herself at the party are symbolic. And formal scenic arrangements. Also, The Waves, for example, by Virginia Woolf, is also built on a broad symbolic pattern. The chief structural device the writer uses is that in that novel is one of formal scenic arrangements. This is combined with the symbolic force of the rising and setting sun and the continuous advance of the waves on the shore.